Welcome to the Advanced Dual Health and Life Coach certification. Today, we're discussing specialized coaching topics in health and wellness, more specifically, client support through the grief and loss. Introduction. Grief is a universal yet deeply personal experience. It can arise from the loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or a major life change. Supporting the client through grief requires empathy, active listening, and tailored strategies to help them process their emotions and rediscover purpose. This comprehensive guide will equip the coaches with the tools to provide emotional support, guide meaning making, and facilitate personal growth during a client's grieving process. Key points: understanding grief and loss. 1. What is grief? Grief is the emotional response to a loss and varies widely based on the personality, culture, and circumstances. Key elements include shock or denial, anger or frustration, sadness or despair, acceptance or adjustment. Example: a client mourning a career displacement may feel stuck in denial, refusing to seek new opportunities. Example: it's okay to feel lost before you find your ground again. 2. Types of loss. Tangible loss, which is death, divorce, and job loss. Symbolic loss could be loss of identity, confidence, or purpose. Example: a new parent might grieve the loss of independence while still celebrating their child's arrival. Example: every loss teaches us how to cherish what remains. 3. 5 stages of grief, which is the Kubler-Ross model, which is the denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. These stages are not linear, which means that the clients may move back and forth through these stages. Example: a client struggling with denial may avoid talking about their feelings. A coach using gentle prompts can guide exploration. Example: grief is like the ocean. Some waves come crashing and others roll gently by. Coaching strategies for supporting grief. 1. Creating a safe space. Purpose is to foster trust and vulnerability by allowing the clients to express without judgment. Techniques could be using empathetic language and open-ended questions. Example: a coach saying, "What would you like to talk about today?" Client: "I miss my dad's advice. Everything feels very uncertain without him." Coach can say, "It sounds like guidance was incredibly meaningful to you. How can we honor that today?" Example: grieving is not weakness, it's love persevering. Take a moment to have a look at the areas of grief, which could be anger, trouble taking care of yourself and others, sleep problems, profound yearning and isolation, irritable mood, guilt or shame, fatigue and low motivation, denial or shock. 2. Active listening. Be fully present and do not interrupt to try to fix their pain. Techniques could be reflect back key feelings through statements like, "It seems like you're feeling." Example: a client expressing guilt about unresolved conflicts can benefit from reflection. You could say, "It sounds like you wish things ended differently." Example: sometimes the most important thing you can do is simply listen. 3. Addressing emotional regulation. You can teach clients how to manage overwhelming emotions through self-soothing strategies. Techniques could be deep breathing, mindfulness, or journaling. Example: asking a client to journal nightly about one memory they cherish with their lost loved one to balance the sadness with fond remembrance. Example: feel your feelings but don't forget to breathe through them. 4. Exploring meaning and growth. Guide the clients to find meaning in their grief and growth through resilience practices. Techniques could be helping the clients identify the lessons loss teaches them. Example: a client grieving a lost job discovers a deeper passion for creative pursuits. Example: what's one thing this loss has shown you about yourself? 5. Setting realistic goals during grief. Break down overwhelming tasks into small, manageable steps. Technique could be the SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Example: a grieving client struggling with neglecting health may set a goal like walking for 10 minutes daily. Example: taking it one day, one step, one breath at a time. Techniques for mastery level support. 1. Reframing negative thoughts. Shift from "I'm broken beyond repair" to "I am healing each day." Example: you can use cognitive reframing exercises to identify unhelpful beliefs and replace them with the truths. Example: grief doesn't mean you're broken, it means that you've loved deeply. 2. Memorizing practices. Encourage creating rituals like lighting a candle or planting a tree in memory of a loved one. Example: a grieving client preserves memories by starting a photo scrapbook projects. Example: even as we grieve, we can celebrate the love that remains. 3. Encourage connection with support networks. Strategies: recommend joining grief support groups or seeking out trusted friends or family for shared experiences. Example: grief feels lighter when shared with those who care. 4. Navigating anticipatory grief. This helps the clients manage emotions surrounding expected losses such as a terminally ill loved one. Techniques could be focusing on making meaningful moments with their loved ones in the time remaining. Example: what can you do today to create a lasting loving memory? Self care integration. You can guide the clients to engage in mental, emotional, and physical care routines. Example: create a habit checklist including journaling, hydration, exercise, and sleep practices. Example: caring for yourself during grief is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Take a moment to have a look at this pyramid, which talks about the potential and desire, which leads to power and success. Let's have a look at some summary tables. Table number 1 talks about the stages of grief and understanding the process. Let's have a look at all of the stages, the typical reactions you can see with them, indicators, application example, expert tips, and some outcomes. Take a moment to have a look at the table. And let's look at the first stage, which is denial. Typical reactions include shock, disbelief, and confusion. Indicators is avoiding, questioning reality, and emotional numbness. Application example could be that a client refuses to plan after losing their job, avoiding discussions about the next steps. Expert tips is that you can use gentle, validating language to ease them into acceptance. Example: it's okay to take your time absorbing this. And some outcome is that it allows the space for the emotion to process while reducing resistance. Take a moment to have a look at the rest of the examples. Table number 2 talks about the strategies for emotional regulation in grief. Take a moment to have a look at some of the practices, the purpose, application example, expert tips, and the expected outcome. Let's take a look at journaling. Journaling's main purpose is to help process emotions and clarify through the thought processes and reflection. Example: you can encourage the clients to write letters to the deceased expressing unresolved emotions. Expert tip is that you can provide optional prompts such as what were your happiest memories or what lessons did they teach you. Outcome is that it aids release, shifts the focus from guilt to gratitude, and fosters closure. Take a moment to have a look at the rest of the examples. Table number 3 talks about the techniques for building emotional safety. Have a look at the techniques, the outcomes, application example, expert tips, and some impact. Let's have a look at reflective listening. The main outcomes is that it validates emotions with careful restatement. Application example is echoing, it sounds like you feel overwhelmed because this was unexpected. Expert tip is that you can mirror back both the words and underlying emotions to deepen the rapport, and some impact is that it helps the clients feel heard, reducing defensiveness or isolation. Take a moment to have a look at the rest of the examples. Table number 4 then talks about the self-care practices for grieving clients. Let's have a look at some activities you can share with them, the benefits, application example, expert tips, and the outcome. Let's have a look at time in nature. The main benefit is that it provides grounding and a sense of peace. Application example is that it is helping the clients establish weekly routines to visit of scenic natural spaces. Expert tip is that you can suggest integrating mindfulness while observing natural settings, example focusing on trees and the sky textures. Outcomes is that it creates profound grounding effects through the reconnection with nature's rhythm. Take a moment to have a look at the rest of the examples. Table number 5 talks about meaning-making activities. Here we can have a look at some example activities, what purpose it can provide the client, application example, expert tips, and the expected outcome. Let's have a look at memory boxes. The main purpose is to celebrate the relationship of cherished memories. Example: creating a memory box with photos, letters, or favorite keepsakes of the late loved one. Expert tip is encouraging add small meaningful updates over time. Example: notes about ongoing meaningful moments that is tied to the deceased. outcome is that it serves as a tangible, evolving resource for joy and connection amidst the grief. Take a moment to have a look at the rest of the examples. Now let's have a look at some MCQ questions. Take a moment to answer question number 1 and 2. Take a moment to help answer question number 3 and 4. And take a moment to question number 5. Thank you.